Hey everybody, Ian Campbell here with Mission Suite. Hope you're doing well on this Thursday evening. Lindsay, my wife, and I are actually planning on heading up to the mountains tomorrow after a meeting that I have in the morning, and doing some work up there, and then doing some camping this weekend. So I, for one, am particularly looking forward to this weekend, and I hope you are too. In the meantime, however, it is Thursday, and while it is a later in the evening live video post, I wanted to make sure to get it done and get some more information out there for everybody to consume here. So with that, today I actually want to talk about automation. So on Tuesday, I talked a little bit about an event that I went to for Business Marketing Association. And one of the things that we talked about during that meeting was what should you start with? What should you start automating? If you've never actually been involved in automation before, if you've never done any automation before, where should you start? What's step one? Oddly, actually, I ended up having that same conversation with a client of mine yesterday morning, the morning after that meeting, and it was interesting because we kind of walked through some things, and it kind of made me realize, hey, there might be some content here to discuss on Facebook Live. So with that, I'm going to kind of jump in here. So number one, first thing you should be automating is your immediate prospecting follow-up. So whatever you're doing for prospecting, whatever you personally are doing, right? So I'm not talking about the lead gen stuff and all the landing page follow-up and everything like that. I'm talking about the stuff that you're doing for prospecting. When you're going out there and you're making phone calls, maybe you're canvassing, maybe you're just doing a lot of networking, whatever it is that you're doing for your main prospecting efforts, there's always going to be some sort of follow-up afterwards. And oftentimes that's where kind of the wheels fall off the wagon, so to speak, right? Because nobody's good at follow-up, not even people who specialize in it, right? I mean, it's just, there's always going to be, let me rephrase that. No one's 100% at follow-up, right? There's always going to be people that mistakenly fall through the cracks, and even me with all the technology that I use, every now and then there's still just people that fall through the cracks, and just because that's the nature of the beast, right? It just kind of happens that way. So what should you be, again, this kind of leads me to that first point, right? The first thing that you should be automating is that prospecting follow-up. Are you going out and collecting cards at networking events? Then figure out a way to follow up. Are you calling? Are you dropping in or whatever? But everything has a series of follow-up tasks or emails or what have you after that. So you should have a sequence or some sort of a campaign built out in your CRM or in your system to like Mission Suite to be able to execute on that. So for me, for example, and this is actually something that we implement into every new Mission Suite account that we set up for our clients if they want it. But it's a networking follow-up sequence, because for me, a lot of the people that I know that do sales get a lot of their business from networking. And so we have a 3-part networking follow-up series. The first one is kind of we talked about getting together again. So you and I had a conversation at an event, we talked about getting together, and I want to make sure to follow up after that. So I'm going to send you an email, then a few days later, if I haven't heard back from you, I'm going to follow up with a phone call. Same kind of thing happens for people that we didn't talk, with whom I had a conversation. We didn't actually talk about getting together, but I think there's some opportunity there, whether it's for a good referral partnership or an actual client relationship. And so I want to follow up for that too. I want that follow up to say, hey, we met at this event. I'd love to learn more about your business. Can we get together for breakfast or coffee? And what does Tuesday or Thursday look like for you, right? So that's that. And then of course, once again, there's a phone call follow-up thereafter. And then finally, what I call the gentle blow-off, which you go to an event, there's bound to be a couple people, great conversation, not a lot of reason to follow up. And so you don't necessarily just want to blow them off or ignore them, but you don't necessarily want to get together for coffee with them or pursue them either, right? Because there's just no opportunity there. So we have a specific follow for them too. And so that's that gentle blow off. It's, hey, great to meet you. Here's my LinkedIn profile. Let me know what sort of introductions I can make, and I look forward to seeing you at the next event. That kind of a thing. So, so have something like that. So again, for those prospecting efforts, so those are the first thing that I always recommend for you to do. So, and again, your prospecting efforts may be different. So if you're cold calling, you want to follow up for when you talk to the gatekeeper, for when you talk to the decision maker and he says, yes, I want more information. And for the decision maker, when he says, yes, I want to schedule an appointment, right? So have those sorts of networking, those follow up for your prospecting efforts, because it's going to streamline your performance and it's going to make you that much more effective. So that's number one. Number two, what I like to focus on is once you've gotten to that initial meeting, right? So you've gotten the meeting, maybe you've identified this person you've identified the person as a qualified lead. There's different sales stages, right? So that's when they change from a marketing qualified lead to a sales qualified lead. And so once they get to that sales qualified lead stage, there's a series of phases inside of that stage that you have to go through. So for me, it's qualified lead, demo scheduled, demo completed, verbal confirmation, and then account setup scheduled, right? So that's my series of pipeline stages. And of course, I've got one that's just kind of a chase stage that doesn't really add any value to the pipeline, but yeah. So those are my main pipeline stages. So I have automation set up for each one of those pipeline stages. So when I move somebody from demo scheduled to demo completed, they get a specific series of emails that are nurturing them for that stage, right? So they're getting an email saying, "Hey, thanks for joining me on the demo. I've got we took an hour together. I've got a 3-minute version of this. If you need to just show somebody kind of quick highlights, I've got a 3-minute version of this that you can take a look at. And then maybe a few days later, hey, here's an email, here's a blog article that I wrote about why you shouldn't pay for sales and marketing software on a per user basis and things like that, right? So each stage has a series of nurturing steps, and it makes you look like a rock star because you're able to connect with these people and to continue reaching out to these people, but you're also able to make sure to free up your time and to make sure that you have the time to actually go about go about your day and keep making more sales. So that's number 2. And number 3, and this is the final one that I'll talk about today, is really the automating your kind of ongoing client tasks. So for example, I've got clients that ask me, "Hey Ian, I need an email reminder, from somebody." My biggest issue in using the software is that I always forget to do it, and then no one's there to remind me or hold me accountable. So I need, so really, in a perfect world, this is what I would get. So I say, okay, well, what if I could get you an email once a week that would remind you to do these things, right? Would that be helpful to you? Some people say no because it's just going to get lost. Some people say yes, right? And so for those folks, what I do is I write up an email, I save it, and then I'm able to automatically send it out once a week, every Friday at 2:30, let's say. And every week, I'm able to just continually keep sending that, right? Every week. But I don't have to do it. All I have to do, I've only got to do it once, and then it keeps happening for me. So that's a huge asset, because again, you're able to service your client. They're getting an email directly from you, even though you're not the one sending it. So, but the point is, when they respond to it, it's coming back to you. So if they need something from you, if there's some way that you can help them, then you know that, right? So because the request is coming directly from you. So it can be a huge benefit to your client. It can be a great way to solidify your relationship, and it can be a great way, frankly, to block out the competition and make sure that that no one else is able to get in with that client. Because realistically, in my world, what other software provider is going to pay that level of attention to them, right? Very, very few, if any. So anyway, those are my three main things that I like to focus on. As my friend Beth, I have a friend Beth Klepper with Mainstream Video. She does video production, and she always says, you know, create video for each state, for your stage in the pipeline, right? For wherever that contact is in the pipeline, that's what you should be creating video for. And I would say that the same goes with automation. So create automation for each stage of that pipeline. So if you're on stage, you know, if you're in that demo completed stage, then make sure you have some sort of automation built in for that, because it's going to help you huge in the long run. So with that, I'm going to say goodnight. I'm going to say have a great weekend. I'm going to be out of touch for the weekend, and I'm stoked for it, but I will see you again on Tuesday. All right, cheers.